Jai Swaminarayan, Om Namo Narayanaya, Namaste, welcome back. I hope this is broadcasting because this is the fifth attempt to get this show started. My computer's acting up again, and after this, it's coming apart. Oh, when technology works, it's awesome. When it doesn't, life is just, ugh. Anyways, I kept trying to upload and go live and whatever. It's just really weird. So I don't know, but let's dive in to our show today. Will you please join me in chanting Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha 7 times, and may he bless the rest of this show, even though it started kind of shaky for me over the last half hour trying to make this happen. Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha. Om Shri Swaminarayan. I'm sorry. Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha. You know what? I accidentally said Shreem, which is Shreem Razi. Let's just start this over, get ourselves focused, dive in, because this is live. Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha. 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 At least this attempt is better than the very first, where my microphone was not working. I would like to now read from the wonderful book called the Swamini Vato. This is the spiritual teachings of Akshay Brahman Gunatatirthanand Swami. And he was a successor to Bhagavan Swaminarayan, which is the spiritual tradition that I follow and am enlightened by. And this is a book of things he said during his teaching life. When we set aside all work and become free to listen to these spiritual discourses, understand that we are doing tens of millions of tasks. What are they? Through these tasks, one's destiny for hell and rebirth is obliterated. Do not think we are sitting idly. That's the truth, is it not? That is the truth. We're here together and focused on God, focused on Shri Krishna, focused on Shri Swaminarayana, and things are happening beyond our vision. So, for those tuning into this live show, maybe for the first time, every week I come with at least one show talking about my faith of Sanatana Dharma in light of the world, encouraging folks to break, I want to say break the matrix, but kind of break the matrix a little bit, to honor the scriptures, to honor the past, to honor the gods, to see the world for what it truly is. I encourage folks to think for themselves, to seek out God, the greatest thing you can do. I don't consider myself a theologian. I wish I was, but I'm not. I'm not a guru. I'm not a Swami or a Akshaya. You could call me a teacher or maybe a preacher. That latter one is probably more of what I do. I consider myself a mystic. I have a relationship with God, and it is wonderful. And it took me a long time to get there. And I want everyone to have that relationship. It is wonderful. And it is an amazing thing to know to know without any hesitance God exists and is here in all of our lives and is in the world, did not abandon us over the last few years, isn't laughing at us, but is here and is involved. And life may be hard, stressful, difficult, good, bad, whatever, but it honestly doesn't matter, because above all of that is God, and God is the greatest thing, is truly the greatest thing. And when your eye is on God, everything else falls away. And I never used to say that. I never used to say that. And then a year ago, I say this for those of you who are new, I had a feeling that I had to read the Hindu or Sanatana Dharma scriptures. Those words have variations on meaning, but I'm using them both here, just speaking to many people in the audience, wherever you may be from. And I just had to read these scriptures. My learning and my spirituality was sort of in this weird place. And I remember God speaking to me going, "My boy, please read these scriptures or just forget it. After 20 years of studying religion, it's done. If you ain't going to do this, it's over. This is where you need to go." So I did. I started this YouTube channel to read the scriptures, because I know others also may want to read them, but they don't have time. They don't have access to them. They don't like reading. They don't understand them, whatever. And I could present something here. Originally, I saw it as not really like an audio book, because I'm not like Patrick Stewart. I don't have this great voice, or Richard Burton or Tom Baker or somebody. But, you can listen in and you can hear that text maybe you haven't found, or maybe you don't have time to read, or, you can listen while doing something else. And then I bring some thoughts after the fact. Then this channel became a puja to God. It became a way of worshiping God through God's own words. And it has changed my life. It is now a year old, and it has absolutely changed my life. Something happened by reading these texts that I cannot put into words. My spirituality changed. My life has changed in subtle ways. I feel my personality, my DNA has changed. And I want that to happen for all of you. I want all of you who are seeking God to find God before it's too late, or to know God, or to change your life, or to do something to make your life better. I want you to have a good life. I believe in a win-win situation, which is totally anti-society, which is win-lose. No, we should all win together. We can grow together. And it's real and it's here, and I'm not crazy. I'm a 45-year-old guy who has a very simple life. Trust me, God exists. God exists. And God takes many different forms. And there's many teachings about God. And I meet someone on the street who I may have very different theological views on. But the overlap is we both believe in God. And so I kind of groove on that. I'm okay if you believe we shouldn't do this or should do this. But we both believe in God. So I want to talk to you. I want to spend time with you, because we're both looking for something higher than ourselves. And even if our path is a little different, you've got an escalator, I've got a fireman's pole that I'm trying to crawl up. Doesn't matter. We're still going up there, and I love that. Whoever you may be. Around here in my neighborhood, I get Christians. I see them all the time. I get Muslims. I work with a Jew, and I see them. I dated a Jew, so we used to go to the synagogues together. Let's see, what else do I see? Brethren, not Amish, Brethren. They're slightly different. They're around here. I think it's Brethren. And Mormons, I run into them once in a while. Their current houses, their current apartment where the kids go is near me. And I love talking with them. I love going up to the Christian on the sidewalk who's protesting abortion, going, "I'm not Christian, but I'm glad that you're praising God, and you have, tell me about your relationship to God." and they enjoy talking to me, and even though they know we probably are very different and they may not understand me like I understand them because I've studied Christianity, they know that we're all on the same boat, and I enjoy doing that. We groove off of each other. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. And so I started going back to this channel. I started this channel to read the scriptures, and I grew. And then at one point, I just wanted to start speaking beyond the scriptures because I record those videos anywhere from 3 months to a year in advance. And so then I created this live show to discuss an array of things. And if you want to know all the things I talk about, I'm slowly creating at this point a playlist of topics. So when I do a show, I put in the chapters and the different topics, and then it's a long process. You know how YouTube goes when you're updating something. I'm going, okay, well, I'm talking about this topic, this topic, this topic. There's 3 playlists, and I'll put in a list. So you can go through this playlist and say, okay, we're here. He's talking about sexuality. Here he's talking about Jordan Peterson. Here he's talking about Islam. You can see different things if you want to just touch base, and then you can get the chapters instead of pouring through all these shows. Also, welcome. If you're new here, if you're old, welcome. Today, I want to share something just a little different. So, I found a book in the store as I was going through the used bookstore, and I thought this looks like kind of an interesting book for a friend of mine or an acquaintance of mine. I'm not interested in reading it so much, but I think I know someone who'd really groove off of this, and my acquaintance is a Christian minister in town that I run into all the time on the street, and we talk on Facebook. He's a good guy, and a young fellow with a family and just preaching the gospel. He does a lot with anti-abortion stuff. That's sort of his thing, and he's trying to basically ban abortion in the state of Maine, just completely ban it here. And I don't want to get into whether that's right or wrong. It actually doesn't matter for the purposes of this channel and for what I want to talk about today. I do know that at one point he was kicked out of his last church because he had such a strong stance and they didn't agree with it. And, he's not a rich man. Like I said, he's got 6 kids that he's supporting, and he's on the street a lot, getting a lot of hate. I'm sure he's on Reddit, but he's a good man. And I talk to him sometimes, and he's just a decent soul trying to make the world a better place. And I honor that. He's not hurting anybody. He's not doing anything. He gets yelled at a lot. He's had death threats. He's had all of that. And so I found this book, and I thought, I'm going to give him that book because I just really like it. Or it looks something, and actually it looks like when I was involved in the Christian church and studying the church, it looks like something I'd want to read. And you may know the author. It is called Richard Rohr. I guess he's a ecumenical teacher. Friar Richard Rohr, and the book is What the Mystics Know: 7 Pathways to Your Deeper Self. I don't know if this is backwards or not when you're viewing this. And he is, according to the back cover, a ecumenical teacher, working with the ideas of Christian mysticism and the perennial tradition. I actually have a master's degree in Protestant mysticism. Because at that point, I was still studying Christianity, but I just felt there was something bigger and more, and I was really into mysticism. And the friar is a Franciscan priest, it looks like, in New Mexico, and has become world famous. And I saw this book, and I thought, I'm going to give this to my friend. And I was flipping through it, and there's some things in here I agree with, some things I don't, whatever. But I came across 2 little things that I was like, oh, I like this. And I want to share them with all of you. And you watching may not be Christian. That's okay. I understand that. You may not like Christians, and that's okay. I understand that too. But we do share some things, even though there are theological differences. There are ideas, particularly when you get into the mysticism, which goes beyond theology on some level and is very personal. A lot of what mysticism and Christianity talks about is not too strange to things I talk about here in regards to Sanatana Dharma. It's not too different to the things mentioned in the scriptures. They're close cousins, even if the packaging looks very different. So if you're not Christian, stick with me. I think you'll enjoy what I want to share today. And if you are Christian, welcome to my channel. This is one of the few times I'm actually focusing on something very Christian. Maybe, Hopefully, you'll come back again. So, I want to read something now. It's called The Discernment of Spirits. Our goal consists in doing the will of the Father in heaven. Thus, we first have to remove our attachment to our own will so that we can recognize the difference between the two. Throughout history, many people who did horrible things were unshakably convinced that they were doing the will of God. That's why we have to find an instrument to distinguish between God and us. Paul tells that this gift of discernment is the discernment of the spirits. We have to learn when our own spirit is at work and when the spirit of God is at work. And then he goes on and talks about something else. I read this and I went, oh, yes, this is a good reminder. And to just go back over this, our goal consists in doing the will of the Father in heaven, the will of God. I totally believe that. I think I've said that before. What is the goal of life for me? To follow Lord Krishna, to be the servant of Sri Krishna. That is what the name that was given to me, my spiritual name means. Premanandas Bhagat, a servant of God. That's what I am. That's my message here. That's it. That's the entire message of this entire channel. All this rambling. Be a servant of Sri Krishna or Lord Ganesha or however, be a servant of God and your life will change. Believe me, it will. And then he says we have to first remove our attachment to our own will so that we can recognize the difference between the two. So if we want to know what is God's will and what is our will, we have to detach from one. We have to separate ourselves. This is actually really hard to do. And as he goes on and says, there are many people who did horrible things and who are truly evil people who have said that they are doing the will of God. I won't name names, there's many of them. Over time, were they doing the will of God? Did God want them to mass murder 900 people? I don't really think so. You could say they were following Satan. You could do all that, but I don't want to get into that because I don't believe in Satan. But technically, psychologically speaking, were they following the will of God or were they following their own will? And maybe there was a message from God there, but they had completely destroyed it or they didn't have it at all or something. We have to be very aware of our thoughts. We almost have to step outside ourselves sometimes. Is this God telling me I need the hamburger from McDonald's? Or is it my stomach and my desire to eat this hamburger, for lack of a better example? Or is God telling me that I need a brand new pool in the back of my house? Or is this my desire to have one because the neighbors just put one in? We have to be very aware of this. It's a hard thing to do because we don't want to be the crazy one, the one who goes, I killed people. Look at me. I'm God. We don't want to be that person. We want to discern. Now, the friar says that the way we distinguish between what's going on up here and what's going on up there is the gift of the discernment of spirits. I do not want to speak about the discernment of spirits because I'm not a Christian, and my background in Christianity, I have quite deliberately forgotten. I have a master's degree in this, and I have literally deliberately forgotten it because I don't believe in it. And we're going to touch on that with the next bit I'm going to read. But I'm going to say, for those following Sanatana Dharma, we don't have a discernment of spirits concept. Or if we do, we don't use those words. What we have something really amazing, though. And it is available to you right now, whoever you are, wherever you are in the world. We have scriptures. We have the Vedas. We have the 4 books of the Vedas. We have the Upanishads. We have the beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam. We have sutras, agamas. We have Gitas of this shape. We have epics. We have the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita. We have scripture right here. And that's on this channel that you can find so many books that I'm reading. And there's many more that I'm recording now that'll go out in a long time from now. And if you have not read the Srimad Bhagavatam, yes, it's 12 volumes. It's taking a while for me to get through it. It will take a while for you to get through it, but it is unbelievable. I started this YouTube channel reading a few little things, not knowing what I was getting into. And then I started reading the Srimad Bhagavatam because it was like it's famous and all these ISKCON Swamis talk about it. I might as well do this. Oh my God. It is amazing. Amazing, amazing. I always say if I was a guru and I had an organization around me, I would require everybody who wants to be a member to read the first 3 cantos alone. Just the first 3. You should read more, but just those 3, your entire life will explode. I recommend this book to everybody, even though no one's going to read 12 books. You don't even have to read the purports by Swami Prabhupada. People think you do, but you actually don't. There are multiple translations of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, you see 2 books right behind me. That is a 2-volume set of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's without the purports. It's just the text, which is what I read on this channel, just the text. So if you feel like, oh, I don't have time to read all these things, and no, just do the text. The text predates Swami Prabhupada. You don't have to read all the stuff he wrote. You can do that later if you want. But if reading that is preventing you from reading that text, just move on and get to the text, because the text tells you God's wishes for our life and theology and what God looks like and what God is like, and how you can hear the voice of God in your head and know that it's the voice of God and not something going on up here. And it tells you what a good saint is, what a bad saint is, what a good teacher is, what a bad teacher is. It tells you how to live your life so you can hear the voice of God if you're not already. It is amazing. And that's just one scripture. I'm just talking about the Srimad Bhagavatam because I love it so much. There's others. The Vachanamrut by Swaminarayan. 262 or more, depending on which volume you have, which version you have, talks that he did over a decade, which are the essence of the Vedas. And it is a avatar of Krishna on earth 200 years ago, giving us the essence of the Vedas in one simple book. It's not 2 volumes. It's very friendly. I read a little bit every day before bed, actually. And it's all right there. And you get everything: how to be good, bad, what is good and bad, how to live your life, how to hear God, how to find God. That's how we know. That is how we know. So this Christian may talk about the discernment of the spirits, which gets into theology that I know nothing about. But for us in Sanatana Dharma, we have the scriptures, and the scriptures are proven. They have shown their value. If you don't believe me, if you think that is hogwash, I dare you to get into, I don't know, let's say Canto 5 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. You don't even have to read all of it. Read like the first, 14 chapters. Just read the first 14 chapters and come back to me and tell me if those 14 chapters aren't completely relevant today. Just tell me that they aren't, and let me know why. Let me know that they're out of date. Please tell me. I would love to hear you say, no, they were completely irrelevant today. They have no meaning at all. I'd love to hear, and I want to hear you say why. I guarantee you're going to go read those 14 chapters and go, whoa, wow, this is it. I hear something that I've never heard before. I see something I never see before. Wow, it's all there. How to know God is all there. Those scriptures are old. Many people have endorsed those scriptures, written about them, taught them over and over, and preserved them and shared them with the next generation. They are well trodden, well proven that they are still as valid as ever. That's my dare for you. Go and read them if you do not believe that we in Sanatana Dharma are blessed with this beautiful text and many beautiful texts that the world is free to share in. And thank goodness for the internet, because it's all on the internet. All right, I'm in this praise mode, but I'm in a good mood. I want to read something else now from the friar. This is going to delve into a personal story of mine. We're going to move to a different theme now. So this says, beyond the defended ritual, Christians kneel and raise hands. Buddhists sit in surrender. Muslims bow their heads to the earth many times a day. Natives whirl and dance before the power, and Hindus burn incense and offer sacrifices. We are all fairly consistent with our rituals. We defend them and too often identify with them. But now we must go beyond the defended ritual to the reality for which it stands. That really hit me when I picked up this book. And it hit me because I could relate to it. There's nothing wrong with the rituals we all hold, including the sacrifices we no longer do in Hinduism. There's nothing wrong with them. They're good. They're valuable on so many levels. Waving of incense focuses our mind, but also that incense represents something. Also, it's honoring the gods. We're giving the smell to somebody. There's value here. But sometimes we cling to our rituals a little bit too tightly, or our rituals are a substitute for something. I want to tell you a personal story about my life, why I wanted to read this today, because I just so connected with it. You may be able to relate. So let me take a cup of coffee here. And in college, I discovered God, which I've mentioned before on this channel. And God was part of the Hindu path. And I thought in order to study, worship, etc., the Hindu gods, you had to live near the Ganges. That was it. You didn't live near the river, nope, nothing was going to happen. And so I was so disappointed, and I ended up going to church because I thought, well, I could probably find God in the church. And I spent a couple years in college, very active in the church. So let's see. Sunday morning, I had Presbyterian Church that I was a former member of that I went to for their later, more modern service, which had a jazz band that were really cool, and you'd stand up, wave your hands, and sometimes I would actually get up early and go to the earlier service that was much more ritual. Liturgy was very different. It was much more traditional. So I always was reminded of an Episcopalian church in town. We would stand up, we would sit down, we would kneel. It looked like Catholic Mass. And that was the older crowd. I mean, when I showed up, it was always noticeable. Like the secretary would be like, Aaron, why are you here? You're the youngest person here by 30 years or 40 years. I was in my 20s then. And then the other service was like, why are you here? You should come to the other one. I'm like, I know, but whatever. I used to do that. And sometimes I would actually stick around for both services, believe it or not. I'd go down, get coffee, and then come back upstairs. I would go to Mass on Saturday. There was this nice Catholic church. I used to like to go to Mass. On Friday nights, the Presbyterian Church had a youth group. There'd be hundreds of us, hundreds, just singing praise songs for hours and hours. And then the campus Christian group had also a Friday night service. There could be 300-400 of us, easy. Very hill songs, if you know what that's like. I would do that, or I'd switch back and forth between the two Fridays. Sometimes there'd be a Christian group I would meet with during the week. I had a Bible study I was doing, not a Bible study, but it was actually a study on prayer with a mystic and his wife. And there was about 6 or 7 of us who did that every week. I was studying Christianity in classes. I was going to church through the week. The Episcopalian Church, I think, had a weekly service or a couple nights a week. And so me and my best friend and his girlfriend, the 3 of us would go, and I was really involved. Oh, and I was also volunteering as part of the youth ministry in my church. Once a week, I would go down and volunteer in that, and I was really heavily involved. Aside from that, I was also reading as much as I could about the church. I read through my undergrad years the Bible 3 times, the Dead Sea Scrolls. I read the Apocrypha. I was also reading church history, which I really was interested in. I would pick up anything I could. Anything mystical was what I was interested in. St. John of the Cross, I'm going to swallow that down in the weekend. I just wanted that. Um, let's see, St. Francis of Assisi, even modern things like Richard John Newhouse of First Things magazine. I would read Merton, all sorts of stuff. And I just loved it. And I was reading also John Knox, who is the founder of the Presbyterian Church. I bought online his collected writings, and this is old dry stuff too. And I was reading them. I was gun ho. I wanted everything, and I wanted to know everything. Here's the thing: I went and got a master's degree, and then kind of fell apart during that, and just finished it up and washed it away, and quite literally forgot it, because I did all this stuff. I went to numerous things during the week. I was around Christians and loving and reading about it. And I mean, like, it was just insane. Everyone in my church, or not everyone, but everyone I knew in my church was like, oh my God, you're reading John Knox. Wow, future minister right here. The thing is, it was all fake. It was all not real. It was just an illusion. It was a ritual that I was clinging on to. You see, I had this belief that if I read everything I could, and if I learned all about the liturgy, and that's why I was going to the earlier service, so I could see this earlier one and what they were doing. Oh, I also directed a play at a local Lutheran church for Christmas, matter of fact. So I would do my service and then go over to the Lutheran church and direct their play, and sang in the choir for it. That's something else. And I was really interested in that because I wanted to see how the Lutherans practiced. And I remember walking up to the Christian Science church in town, wanting to see what that was like, but I ended up not going to their services. And I almost went to their reading rooms, though. I think I did maybe walk in once, but I wanted to see everything. But it was all fake, because I believed that if I read everything and I understood everything, I would know God. But this book may be God's words. This might be God's words. But this book, not so much. Billy Graham's lectures, maybe not so much. Writings by William F. Buckley on God, maybe not so much God's words. You see, I had no relationship with God when I was young. I had none. I didn't really even necessarily believe in Jesus or any of that stuff. I just went to church and did all the rituals because I thought if I did the rituals, I would find God. I thought that if I did the rituals and I learned everything, literally everything I could get my hands on, I would have God. And then eventually my faith just collapsed, because you can't build a relationship with Jesus simply on a book. And that's upside down. Sorry. That's what I learned the hard way. I never had a relationship. I never really even talked about Jesus. I never could, because there wasn't anything here. It was just history for me, and just facts and figures and debates. I could intellectualize it, but I didn't really go anywhere spiritually. Those few years didn't actually go anywhere for me spiritually. It was very stagnant. I learned a lot, and I'm glad I did, but I didn't have a spiritual death. What happened to me was I really wanted to continue working in the church. If I had my dream job, I would work in a church or temple or something. But I had no faith. I really had no faith. So I figured, should I pursue this line and try to become, like, I don't know, a minister or work in a church or do something and be helping people find God when I actually don't know God? Should I tell people, yeah, Jesus is great, when I'm really like, I don't even think Jesus exists? I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that because that would make me a hypocrite and a liar. And something in part of me said, no, 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 don't do that. Don't tell someone God is great when you don't even believe in God. You can't do that to these people. You will be hurting people on some level. You'll be a fraud. And I don't know why at 20 something years old that was such a big deal to me. People do this all the time. They're frauds all the time. But I think it was because I wanted to pursue the church because I just loved the church and I knew there was a God out there somewhere and I wanted to be a part of that. I wasn't looking to become a rich minister or a famous TV evangelist. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want the fame and fortune. I wanted the spirit. That was why I was going to church every Sunday and waking up early, which I hated waking up early. I hated mornings then. So for me, it was about that spirit. It wasn't about any material things. And I think deep down, even though I couldn't put it in words, I realized that. And if I had pursued this career path, it would have been for nothing because I didn't want materialism. I didn't know the spiritual things. What would I have gained? And I had been leading people down a dark road and I couldn't do it. So I stepped away. I said, okay, I'm going to give up on this career path, but I'm going to keep finding God and looking for God and whatever. And to this day, I don't work for a ministry or anything. Wish I did. Call me up. Even, whoever you are, I would jump at it tomorrow. I'd be loving to do that. But I have God now. So I found God. And that is the most important thing for me. So this has been a long story that's rambled a little bit. I hope you've got the point of it. That is my experience. I realized that I went through all these rituals and all this learning and all this stuff, but I had nothing to base it on. And to base it on would be a belief in God or a love of God or a relationship with God. I didn't have that to start with, and I never really found it until I let all that stuff go, all the ritual go, and just started to focus on finding God. Because God is a person, God is an entity, God is a being that wants a relationship with you. We read that in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We read that in the Vedas. God is, boom, right here and wants that relationship, and it's easy to find. But if you're searching through God by reading John Knox or something, but you don't have it, it didn't work for me. But I hung on to the rituals. I hung on to them thinking if I am holding on to this ritual, that makes me a Christian. Well, I guess doing a ritual makes me a Christian, but I had no belief. So I don't really think I was a Christian. The rituals became my salvation when that's not it's not the way it should be. You should be able to get rid of all the rituals and you'll still find God. Really, not that you want to get rid of all the rituals. As I said at the beginning, the rituals are more than just for us. The rituals are for the God. When we're offering incense, we don't offer incense because it smells nice to us. We offer incense because it smells nice to the Lord. So we're offering it to God. So it's not about us. But we forget that and the rituals become part of us. They become who we are. We do them because we have to, but we lose the essence of them. Or maybe we don't have the essence and we're just doing them because, oh, all our friends go to church. But do we believe? That's my message for this whole channel. I believe I said at the beginning of this, I want you to find God. I want you to have God. I want you to know God because it's the greatest thing in the world. And I want you to be a servant of God so you can bless this world that Lord Brahma has created and make it better. But there may be things holding you back. You may think you have something. Well, I go to church on time at 10 o'clock every Sunday. But do you have a relationship with God? I've actually asked Christians that, and I use Christians because I see so many of them too. I've asked Christians in town, I'm like, tell me about your relationship with God. Well, God is really great. No, tell me about your relationship with God. Well, if you read the Bible, or I've been told if you read the Book of Mormon, you can know all about, no. Tell me about you. What does God say to you? What is God telling you? And I've had blank stares. Well, God doesn't actually speak to people. Really? Are you sure? You sure God doesn't speak to people? So he didn't speak to St. John on the cross. He didn't speak to Vyasa Veda. He didn't speak to Adi Shankara. Didn't speak to Ramakrishna. Really? You really think that? Oh, well, God is. See, they make excuses because they don't have that relationship. And that is the greatest thing you can find. I want that for you. But you need to be aware. And I can't give it to you. There's no secret to it. The secret is being aware. And this is what the Srimad Bhagavatam and Upanishad say is being aware and investigating ourselves and going through, what am I doing? Am I doing this that holds me back? Or am I doing this that moves me forward? Or am I doing this that's just comfortable? I don't know. We have to discern how our life is. We have to be aware. And the guides that we have to tell us how to be aware are these holy scriptures, as I mentioned at the beginning. So, anyways, this has been a worshipful and praiseful episode. I don't necessarily mean to sound like a televangelist, but I'm just so joyful, happy, enthralled, and I seriously want that for everyone. This is just my real feeling coming out. This is the mystical side of me, and it's just like, I love talking about this. So if I sound like a televangelist, I'm not asking for your money. I'm not looking to heal you. I am literally just, I just love this. This just fills me with delight. And I hope on your path, whatever your path is, you find that place where you are filled with delight of something bigger than us, way bigger than us. And that you are profoundly enthralled by that and also afraid. Be afraid of God. Anyways, I'm gonna stop here. I wanted to do this video because I gotta find my friend and give him this book. I think he'll enjoy it. There's a lot of other cool stuff here, and I know this would inspire him as he goes out into the world. And next time, please come back, visit me for another time, and let's rejoice in the Lord again in another week. Yeah, that's all. We're going to bring the video to a close here. Thank you for watching. Please check out my other videos where I post the scriptures and where I did my other live streams. And you can find this channel on Spotify, BitChute podcasts. Spotify, BitChute, and Anchor podcasts. Anchor is without the visuals. And I'm slowly uploading everything that's here on YouTube onto those channels, so it's all going to be there at some point. And if you want to support me, this channel at this point is not monetized as I broadcast on what is actually Earth Day here in 2023. But I'm a writer, and you can check out some of my stuff if you go to my website, which is linked below. Other than that, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share, write me a personal email if you want. You can say anything you want and reach out however you feel. And yeah. Anyways, I was reminded there at the end, today is Earth Day, 4/22/2023. So take care of the earth. Brahma created this earth, as I said, and wants us to develop it and make it better. So there you go. Do so. Improve the earth, improve yourself, but you can't improve the earth before you improve yourself. So work on you and then spread out the love. But that's going to get me going. And we're at the end now, so let's not go on it. I look forward to your comments. Thank you for joining me as always, and be well. Take care. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Swaminarayan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.